Let's get right to it. Waiting patiently in the Via Hante Stogie Road Green Room is, I don't even have to think about this. He is the buffest cigar reviewer on YouTube. And how do what's that?
What do muscles and cigars have anything to do with each other, man? That just makes no damn sense.
I know. I'm doing all this like 4 hours of show notes for this, and at the end, I just felt less like a man because I had to stare at 9,000 photos of him without his damn shirt on, and then I had to look at and this is how I know where he was coming from, because this is Tim Rollins, Mr. South Carolina. And this is the same, which I had a hard time believing this is the same guy, Mr. All South. They don't even look like him. They look like this guy. I don't know. It's kind of weird. You can definitely tell which one's the young one and which one's the older picture.
The older one.
This guy right here. What's going on, Tim?
Not much. Thanks for having me. And by the way, there are 5 years difference in those two pictures.
Oh, okay. I could tell there was just a little bit of time between,
and a little bit of sun too.
Yeah.
Gotta have it. So what's going on?
Oh, it's going good. I want to thank you for actually wearing a shirt. I feel like you're the guy that would probably kick sand in my face and call me a nerd if we met. You know, I know.
Well, I thought about it. I am wearing a shirt, but I'm not wearing pants.
Yes. Okay. That's fine.
Me neither. It's all good.
Yeah. Neither is Diggins. Who knows? Like I said, I got a laptop in my way. I don't know. So let's start off with the pictures. You were Mr. Teenage South Carolina in 1977. I was just born in 1977, and there you are already. How old were you in that first picture? Teenage South Carolina?
19.
Oh, you're 19 years old. God, and then you were Mr. South Carolina in 81, and then Mr. All South in 86.
Right.
So where did, before we get into the cigars, where did the love of bodybuilding, was it your dad, uncle? There's always usually something.
Well, there's a story there, and I'll give it to you.
All right.
I was a basketball player, believe it or not, and I was a shooting guard. I loved to shoot from the outside. We didn't have the three-point line then, but if they did, that's what I would have been doing. So I started lifting weights primarily to jump higher, and this is going into my junior year of high school, and I decided to lift weights, but I liked lifting weights a lot, and I saw results. And so, long story short, I quit playing basketball to go into to bodybuilding. Not just lift weights, but I wanted to go into bodybuilding. I bought remember how you used to could buy the Charles Atlas books and get them in the mail and do this?
Yeah.
I had them.
Really?
Yep, I did that. That's how I started. And about 6 months into my working out seriously, and then I mean as serious as you can at a high school with just a universal machine and in your basement with makeshift equipment. A friend of mine, he had some money, and I'm in Columbia, and we're up on Lake Murray.
Now, and this is like mid-'70s, early 70s?
Yep, this will be mid-'70s. He actually took a one-year membership and split it in half and gave half to his son and half to me to go to at what that time was known as European Health Spa, which was the only gym really around at that time. Mm-hmm. So that got me into gyms. And from there, they started popping up, and one thing led to another. And started competing, did well, won some here and there. I'm kind of a perfectionist, and the first contest I entered was the Teenage South Carolina the year before, and I got third place, and that really pissed me off. And I said, nope, that's not happening again. So next year I went back and won. Same thing happened with the South Carolina, the overall Mr. South Carolina. First year I entered it, got third place. Next year I won. I don't like losing. And so that was one reason. I went to the Nationals twice, had my doors blown off, but I went. And the last year when I won the All South, that was a national qualifier. And I told my wife, no, that's it. Because by that point, our second child was just born. And I said, I'm not going through all this. There's a lot you go through.
Yeah.
The working out at the gym and the eating at home is nothing. That's fun. The contest preparation turns you go from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde real fast. So I said, no, I've done well. I've got the ring, I've got titles, and I feel good about what I did. So that was the end of that. Well, as engrossed as I am or was in bodybuilding, I had to have something else. Well, by this time, my son was getting old enough to play baseball. Guess what? Now I'm all in. And so one thing leads to another. But
yeah, it was and I used to lift weights. I was never a bodybuilder. I just lift weights just to stay healthy and stay in shape, because I knew as you get older, it's harder to lose weight. And luckily I'll be 43 years old this year. I fluctuate between 181 and 187 pounds, and I've been this way for about 8 years now. So, but I used to watch all the videos. I used to love Ronnie Coleman. Just listen to that madman, insane as he was, talk. And then you say like the food is the fun part. The food has got to be, watching what these guys eat has got to be the most difficult part.
It's the science of it, I would imagine, though, right, Tim?
Well, you know what?
You're counting.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you eat a certain way. I mean, there's certain things I don't want anymore that you would go crazy for, but it just doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm not it's sort of a routine, and you sort of get into that routine and you like it.
Yeah.
It's not a routine, it's a routine, and it works fine. I mean, I never quit working out. And as I got a little older, like around the time probably I was about 40, I started looking around and seeing what 40 looked like. I said, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to look like that. And so now the goal is not to compete, but it's to look like I do and to not look like my age. I don't want anybody to look at me and go, I know how old that guy is. That's not the first thing I want them to say.
Yeah. So what is your routine now? Are you working out at home? You got a gym?
No, I go to the gym. No, I hate working out at home. I only did that for about 4 or 5 months when I first started when I was 16. No, I hate working out at home. Now during this pandemic, I had to work out at home with basically prison yard equipment. I mean, I made it. Anything heavy is what I worked out with. I just made things.
Oh, you didn't get trash bags full of water.
Yeah, you didn't get out your old Charles Atlas books.
Those are gone. Those are long gone. But no, I went on straight desire and dedication.
Doing some Rocky shit, right?
Yeah,
I am going to do this one way or another. Yep.
Yeah. So you're mid 70s, late 70s. Like I said, you're working out. You eventually stopped competing to get a day job. Somewhere cigars came into. Where did you pick up cigars? Was there somebody or was it just like weightlifting? It was just something you wanted to do.
No, it all flows. It all flows. It actually goes. The origin of the idea goes back to the bodybuilding days, and back in I think it was the late 70s, 80s, somewhere in there. There was a movie called Pumping Iron.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard of it.
Yeah.
And of course, Arnold was in there and all the big guys, and we all idolized them. Well, in a scene in that movie, Arnold is backstage or or something, but he's smoking a cigar. So a little light bulb just didn't go off, but it was like stuck into the let's hold that for future reference type thing. Fast forward to my family we've always loved the Caribbean, and we go there all the time. But on one family vacation, we were on a cruise after Christmas over New Year's. So it was December 31st, 1998. We were on a cruise going to Cozumel, Mexico, out of Florida. And over to the left of the boat, where land shouldn't be, because we're going to Mexico.
Yeah.
I said, what is that? You know, and I kind of knew, but somebody said, oh, that's Cuba. Another light bulb goes off. Remember, Arnold had a cigar in his mouth, and we're going by Cuba. So at that time, I knew zero about cigars, but I figured you could probably get Cuban cigars or whatever I thought they would be in Cozumel. Now, at that time, I believe the LCDHs, the first one, as you know, was in Cancun.
Yeah.
I, to this day, don't know if I went into the Cancun LCDH or what. It was a shop. It was an actual shop. You know, walked to the door. It wasn't a guy on the beach. Those, I guess, weren't around quite yet then.
Yeah.
But I went into a shop and I bought a Cohiba Esplendido, I think. But I bought that cigar for $15, okay? And that was a ton of money in 1998.
Oh, yeah.
One cigar, $15, is stupid.
Well, that's when the other cigars were still selling for $2 to $3 then. So $15 is a lot.
It might have been real. I don't know. But I had it. I mean, I've got it. I didn't even know how to cut it. They had to show me how to cut it, and I lit it, and I walked back up the street to where my wife and kids were smoking this cigar. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm having this cigar. And, you know, I'm going to admit things here that I've never admitted to anybody. This, you know, I don't care. You know, what have I got to lose? Remember I said it was $15. I said, that's too damn much for a cigar for just one sitting. So I had like a third of it, let it go out, put it inside the cabin. Next morning, lit it up. Tasted like crap. But I said, it's $15. So I had about a third or maybe half of that, whatever. I made that damn cigar last 3 days. All right.
Oh my God.
It was the nastiest thing, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It was the money thing. It was like, I'm not going to give up on this thing. So
and you were enjoying the Cuban cigar, damn it.
That was my first cigar. So then on the ride home from, Port Canaveral, we stopped off for the night in St. Augustine.
Okay.
Well, St. Augustine by the water, lovely place. Great.
Oh, great place. Yeah.
They had a cigar shop there. So I go in there and I'm just like, oh man, I'm just going to buy one of this and one of that. I didn't know anything what I was getting, but I came home with like 8 or 10 cigars in a Ziploc bag, and I felt like I was King Midas. So that, from that one cigar that to this day I never know if it's real or not, to those, the snowball went downhill quick and gathered steam. So that got me to where I am now.
Yeah. Now, have you ever revisited that cigar? Like, you know, bought a known real one, you know, that you knew, and then ever reviewed it?
What, like a Cohiba?
Yeah. That same cigar.
I don't even remember what it tasted like, because after the first time when it went out, it was really dead. It should have been tossed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't do that.
What are your thoughts of Cuban cigars in general?
I think of them like flavors of ice cream. I like different flavors of ice cream. I have my favorite flavor, but I can do with it and I can do without it. But it's not my favorite cigar. I mean, anybody that knows me and my channel knows I love Nicaraguan tobacco up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, Cubans have their place, and we go to Cancun a lot, and I'm personal friends with the owner of the current location of the LCDH in Cancun, who he also owns the one in Cozumel. But I go in there, and anytime I'm in town, I'll go in there and blow $150 on 8 cigars. You know. Yeah,
I was going to say 6, but yeah, it's you know,
But I do love Partagas. As far as Cuban goes, Partagas is the line I like.
Yeah, see, for me, it was the only one that I ever smoked and loved. The La Raña was actually pretty good, but Jessica and I smoked one last week and reviewed it. The Ramon Alones Patagon Connoisseur, you know, but it was $53. You know, luckily they were gifted to us, and I mean, crazy money.
Yeah,
for those cigars.
Well, when I go in David's shop, you can't get out of there. I mean, a basic PSD4 is $18 or $20. Yeah. I mean, that's one cigar. You know what it is. I mean, Partagas Serie D number. What is it? It's nothing. But it's $20. You go to a Monte 2 and it's upwards of 30, and then forget Cohibas. You're in the 50 range, and it's like, no.
Yeah, that Ramon we smoked at $53 was 4 inches long. I'm like, it was a 40-minute smoke. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? And then we had posted pictures, and I got some friends of mine that are Cuban cigar guys, and just messaged me, oh my God, how was that cigar? That's one I'm looking after. I got to get that cigar. And I go, get out of here. Go buy something. Go buy something else. Versus one of those cigars.
Yeah. Tim, what are you smoking right now?
I'll tell you something. Since we both cross-referenced cigar bundles with Miami, about 5 years ago, I was probably one of the first people to ever review their Maduro Torpedo.
Okay.
And I rated it 93, and it's all over their website. They love telling people that I reviewed it. What is that cigar? Like $4, $5? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I hate spending nowadays. What is the average cigar? Unfortunately, you go into a shop in South Carolina, you can't get out under $10, $12 probably.
Yeah.
And that's middle of the road.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I don't know how good that is, but theirs are just as good. And you know what I'm saying? I look at dollars, man. I mean, I buy 95% of the cigars I review.
Yeah.
I don't wait for the cigar companies to send them to me. I do have a few that send here and there, but by and large, I buy my own. I have control then, and I'm not beholden to anybody.
Yeah.
Not that I feel beholden to them, but it's like, if I buy it, I'm going to tell you what I really think.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's it, and that's kind of where we were at the beginning. And Mac 912 did a great video today. Did a premiere and talking about how you probably shouldn't be listening to most cigar reviewers. And that was one thing. A lot of people don't get that. A lot of us cigar reviewers get cigars for free, and then a lot of I try and mention that hey, I got this cigar for free. And their cigar reviewers say, well, that doesn't affect my review. Yes, it does. To a certain point, I honestly believe that getting a cigar for free affects you a little bit, even just a little bit, because you're gonna want to, even if the cigars suck. Like Jessica and I have had some bad cigars, and we try our best to sugarcoat it, and especially when we got the cigar for free. But hopefully people can realize that that cigar really honestly sucked. So
I ran into that today.
Yeah. What happened to that?
I ran into that today. I'm not going to mention any names. People that can go to my blog and YouTube and find the cigar review today. But I was sorely disappointed because I know where I bought it, but I know the company that made it. But I tell people, even when big name companies make a cigar for Joe Blow over here, well, Joe Blow signs off on what that cigar tastes like. If let's take a big AJ Fernandez, he makes cigars for everybody out there.
Yeah,
but he's gonna make them to your specs. Okay, he may roll it and say, "What do you think about this?" And you may change it. Well, it's on you. So it was signed off by somebody. So they blended it a certain way because somebody liked that. And sometimes I'm thinking, who would sign off on this?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where it was today. I don't get it. But
where do you lean towards? Like, where's your palate? Are you looking for the leathier type stuff or spicy? I mean, what's your preference?
I like spicy and sweet. I like a lot of Nicaraguan tobacco has, and a lot of people gave me grief for years, and now I see more people saying this.
Yeah.
Citrus notes. Okay. Yes. I get freaking citrus. It's not cedar. I know what a freaking orange tastes like, and that's what it tastes like. Or grapefruit, or tangerine, or papaya, which is not citrus. But people are they're like, where do you get all these flavors? You're just making these things up. I'm like, no. What do you taste?
I've never had papaya, but I do get citrus a lot.
Oh, I had papaya just last week in a cigar. But the funniest thing is people say reviewers are full of crap. Oh, well, okay, maybe. But they're like, I either know I like a cigar or I don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
My thing, well, what do you like about it? What are you tasting that you like about it? It's got to be something. What flavors are you getting? I mean, it's not magical. You don't have to,
Do you
really
generally have the same beverage every time you do a review?
Oh,
Just
you,
plain
oh, you
water.
okay.
That's about all I drink. I mean, I don't drink. You see behind me, there's a nice selection of liquor back there.
Yeah, I see that.
Very nice. Got Blanton's, got Booker's, and all kind of stuff. And it honestly rarely gets used because I'm not a big drinker. I don't care if you are, but I don't come home thinking I got to get a drink.
Sure.
I come home thinking, what's my damn cigar? What cigar am I gonna have tonight?
Yep.
And
What's for dinner?
What's for dinner? Hey, baby, what's?
Yeah, that's it. Someone had asked if we've ever had Trafficant cigars. I want to say I've had that, but I don't know. What about you?
Never heard of them.
It doesn't ring a bell to me.
It rings a bell. I don't know if
I've heard that Trafficante before, but I've never.
I'm not. I'm not sure. And I don't know. I said I'm not one of the. I said I look at some of you cigar reviewers, and it's why I don't consider myself cigar reviewer because I got a horrible palate. I can't get. I have a hard time tasting what's on my tongue and then associating that with a flavor or a taste, not really a flavor, and then putting that into words. I'm more of I can tell you a story of what that reminds me of.
Yeah, well that's what it is. I mean, it doesn't have to literally taste like chocolate or an orange.
Reminiscent of.
But it does remind you of that. Yeah. And let me give you an example of where you guys in Florida, right? All right.
Diggins is in Texas.
All right. Well, you probably heard of this. Did your grandmother ever make something called ambrosia, which is like, huh?
Oh yeah, mine did. Yeah.
It's like orange, coconut, all kind of stuff mixed up in this thing, and it's really you get these multitude of flavors. You know what cigar is an ambrosia cigar? And this is a small factory, and they make good stuff. Isabella cigar. You ever had Isabella?
Never.
I had seen on one of the videos you talked about Isabella. Someone gave me an Isabella. I've had it in my humidor for like 2 years, and I haven't smoked it yet. When I saw you mention that, I'm like, oh, I've got to try that cigar now.
Well, last year they had one called the Pepperhead, and this year they have a Time Traveler. And the Time Traveler is phenomenal. It's got every flavor you could ever think of in a cigar. And up until today, as of right now, it is the highest rated cigar I've had this year. And it just came out in the last year. So I only review things over the last year or two. I mean, it's got to be new stuff. But there's one that's going to give it a lot of competition coming up here in a week or so. A lot of competition. But that cigar, it just has everything from the highest note to the lowest note. I mean, from coffee up, everything.
How many cigars do you smoke a day?
How many?
Yeah.
Probably about 5.
And do you retro a lot?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. 5. That's beast mode right there.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, and I'll tell you another thing that I was amazed at when I was getting into cigars. Did you know? You probably know this. Michael Jordan smokes a lot of cigars. He loves them.
Yeah.
And he always smoked one before every game.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, hell, if he can do that, but it's just a way to relax and get your mind into it, because you can do a lot of thinking with a cigar. I do some of my best when I'm in sales and I have a cigar with me. If I'm in a car going somewhere, it's on. Okay.
Yeah.
You can do some very good thinking by yourself in a car with a cigar. Nobody around to bother you. Maybe the radio's playing, whatever.
You can, and I like I said, I have my little office studio here, and sometimes I'll be in my chair, my desk chair. Jessica will be sitting here, and we'll just both be smoking, not really talking. She'll be on her phone, I'll be on my phone, and sometimes I'll just be looking up, and you're just smoking that cigar, and all of these thoughts. Just seems like a cigar. It'll lower your blood pressure, and for me, it opens up my creativity. And she'll know that sometimes, and she'll look up and she's like, "What are you thinking?" you know, then it's just like, and then between the two of us smoking a cigar, we can spitball for an hour and come up with a cool new product, a cool new something we want to do on the house, you know, in an addition, a design or something else. And that's just that cigar. It just gets you, it gets you going.
Yeah. Oh, two things. You know, a little while ago you talked about the cigar you guys had lit up. Well, I know who you've got coming up tomorrow night. You got Robert Caldwell, so I'm having the T Habana by him and his other buddies there, AJ and Matt Booth.
Yeah, I want to ask him about that cigar. I wanted to ask him how it was collaborating with Booth and AJ Fernandez. You know, the three of those guys in this weird love triangle of cigars, and how that came about.
Well, it wasn't a bad collaboration. As a matter of fact, I love these. This is of the teas. I love the original when it came out, but this one, I'm gonna tell you, it is flavorful for me. I love it.
It's got a heavy smoke on it.
You asked about that?
Oh, okay, you do have one. Okay.
Yep. I got the calibrator too. I got them.
Right on. Now the only thing that I keep forgetting to do, and Jessica and I found this out for review the other day, which I use it so often, you got to make sure you clean the tips with some rubbing alcohol every now and then, because we had one and it was all over the place, and I'm like, damn it, we forgot to clean it. So because the oils will actually build up, and then I'll clean it with a little Q-tip, and then bam, spot on again. And I keep fresh. So anybody out there, you know, because when I mentioned it earlier, a lot of people chimed in with they love theirs. Make sure you're cleaning the tips occasionally with either some rubbing alcohol or something to get that oil off the those tips, and it'll make it a little bit more predictable, you know, accurate. So now you had mentioned about your the ratings you gave a cigar. Unlike, you know, and I haven't seen all of your videos. I've only seen a small portion of them. Can you tell us what goes into your numerical rating system, or is that something that you try and keep close to the vest?
It's really not. It's just my personal opinion. I know in my mind what I consider a 90.
Oh, okay.
And I know in my mind what a 93 is, and I know something that's extraordinary that's up the scale. I'm not one of these people, like, I rarely agree with Cigar Aficionado. Rarely agree with Cigar Aficionado, if ever. But I do believe there's certain cigars should be rated high. If I just think this thing is phenomenal, then the highest rating I've ever given a cigar ever is 97, ever. And that would be considered blasphemy by somebody like them, because they would never do anything that high. But I know just from my years of doing this, and there's no formula. If you do this and that and the other, then you get this number. No, bullcrap. It's all a gut feeling. And one thing that I have done that most people haven't done, I don't know why, because I found this happens, is in the last 2 years maybe, I've started breaking the cigar down into thirds. The first third, scoring it. Second third, scoring it.
I noticed you do that. Yes.
Averaging those three numbers, because how many times have you had a cigar that starts out great, and by the halfway point or whatever, it's like, this thing don't taste as good anymore? Or the opposite can be true.
Yeah.
And that's a unicorn. If you can find that, that's a good one. Because if it improves as it goes, I make big mental notes of that, and I'm probably buying boxes of those down the road. But no, there's no magic formula. It's all a gut feeling. And when I'm done and I look at that average number, I go, if I can go, that sounds right, then I've done what I wanted to do.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, obviously by now that you know what you're doing, and your cigar, you go back on your current YouTube channel. I know, we had talked a little bit before about the show. There are some reviews that are not on your channel, but your first review was technical cigar review, March 5th, 2011. So there couldn't have been very many people on YouTube. You and Brian Glenn was probably, I think he was on YouTube at the time you would have been, but you guys had to have been it. Was there anybody else on YouTube?
I feel sure there were quite a few. I mean,
were there? God,
seems like there's tons of them right now. I don't know, but I'm growing slowly, and we talked about that before the show. But it's like I watch the numbers, and I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and YouTube. So everything every review I do goes on my blog and and of course it's on YouTube. And then I put I advertise them, if you will, on the other platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So it gets a lot of attention.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to follow Tim, down in the show notes below is every single link to his blog, his YouTube channel, his Instagram, everything where you can find Tim is in the show notes down below. So don't feel like you have to write it down after the show. Look it up. All the links are there. That'll take you right to where Tim is. So, so 2011, 9-10 years, 850 videos. You seem like you're still having fun and you're still enjoying it. Does it ever seem like work? Like, what is your reviewing schedule for the week? Or do you not have a schedule? It's just like whenever you slow?
No. Yeah. That's a good question. Because I do have a full-time job.
Yeah.
In the winter months when you can't do anything outside or it gets dark at 5:30, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
A lot of times I've gotten to where I do one on Tuesday night if it's a Robusto or something fairly short. But otherwise it's a Saturday and Sunday thing. And if there's a holiday weekend in there, it could be every day, including the holiday. If I'm not going anywhere, I do them on vacation when I'm in the Caribbean. Those are the fun ones, and a lot of people like those because you can see the resort I'm at and whatever. Yeah. But usually it's a Saturday, Sunday thing.
Now, Tim, are you are you in your dining room? Is that where you are? Okay. Yeah. And obviously the family's okay with you smoking indoors. Do you have a filtration system set up?
I do. We've got an Air Pura, which is a great big missile-looking thing that sits in the living room, and it runs 24/7. At night, I set it when I leave, when we go to bed, I cut it on high, and it stays on low, like now. To my left, I've got one fan blowing across me. If you notice, the smoke goes this way, and here's a window fan here, so it goes right across me out the window.
Okay.
And that really helps.
Yeah, it helps.
And I do that when I'm doing my reviews, so it doesn't sit in here. But I try to be a little conscious of what's going on. I mean, but hey, this is my house. It's not
exactly. And that's why I asked if you were in your dining room, because it does have that dining room feel, but a lot of guys set their garage up or guest room, something else.
This just makes a better backdrop than a lot of places. I've got the Chief back there, which is a whole another story. I am not the Washington Redskins. The Chief is staying. Okay.
Okay. So
I'm in the market for one right now.
I was going to bring that up. So nobody has said anything yet. No groups have come out and said, "Hey, we need you to take this down."
No. And if they do, the answer is no. Hey, without the Indians, we wouldn't have Cigar. So
right.
He's staying right there, and he's big. Okay, look at this guy. He's this big.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Oh, so that's not sitting on a table or something?
Nope.
He's
standing right there, and that's a gun he's holding in his right hand and a bundle of cigars in his left hand.
And those are so cool. Where did you pick him up at?
My mother-in-law surprised me for one of my birthdays and gave that to me. She found it in an antique store in North Carolina. And they found it, but didn't have any way to get it home. So they went up the next day with a pickup and brought it back. And I came home. All right, this is what happened. I came home, and I'm in the kitchen, which is another door in front of me, and it was open. And you know how it feels like somebody's watching you or something's there that's not there?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? And there he was. He disappeared one day. They came in the house and set him up and surprised me. It was a great surprise, actually.
Yeah.
But he is real ornate, all hand carved. It's nice.
And that's cool. And it makes for a good backdrop because I went back through all of your videos and you've only had 2 backdrops, it's only, and then it's funny because if you actually filter your videos from oldest to newest and you go down, you'll see these blocks, and then it's just like something will change. It'll be a ton of like 100 video block, and then like I said, something in the background will be a little different, or then you change your shirt. Your shirt color is only changed in I think 3 times. It's That was kind of it got to be so funny that it was just a running joke, and I let it go. And for the longest time, I had this one red shirt, and they're all from the same place. It's muscleandstrength.com, who is not a sponsor, but it's where I get all my vitamins from and all that stuff for my bodybuilding. So they just had neat shirts, and it was one red shirt. And finally, as we all do, we tend to drop ashes, and they got so many holes in it and so many. Finally, I had to retire the shirt, so I did a video on the retiring of the red shirt, and then I got the other shirt, and this is the third one. Army green with what is it? I got a flag on the shoulder. Anyway, that's it. So I just decided I'm gonna wear one shirt. It's sort of my wear around the house shirt anyway, and I'm review. So it's. As far as consistency, that's about as close as it gets. All right. And speaking of green, going through your, and the first thing whenever I find a new cigar reviewer that I want to watch, I'll go and I'll search his channel and I'll keyword search Candela. And I didn't find that you have ever reviewed a single Candela cigar, or it didn't come up in the search, so.
You are correct.
Have you ever smoked a Candela?
No. But I will soon, because as part of it's really my decision. Nobody asked me to do it, but I've got like 5 different cigars from Cigar Bundles of Miami, and one of them is a Candela, and I will be smoking it and review. And I'm going to do one video of all 5 cigars in like 5-minute segments or less on each cigar, just to give a little bit about it to the people, because they're now part of me. So I want to let them know what they can do, and just like my website, So I will have my first Candela. Something about it, I'm like, I'm a Maduro Habano, that kind of thing.
Tim, you say 5 cigars a day. Smoke that sucker in the morning, and you'll enjoy it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, especially that one from Cigar Bundles of Miami. Maybe your first cigar of the day.
I'll tell you, I was impressed. I don't want to taint your opinion or anything, but it is a good Candela for people to get started on Candelas. Now, for me, it was very reminiscent of Nick Malilo's The Grasshopper, which is another good Candela. But in my and it may be a traditional Candela, but to nowadays it's not. It doesn't have that bitterness, that grassiness, that strong chlorophyll. So whoever rolled that in Tampa did a fantastic job. But 850 videos on YouTube on your current channel, and that blows my mind. Candelas. So if you ever come across the Fuente, I know you've done the Fuente 858.
Yeah.
The 858 makes a Candela, and across the board in the cigar community, that is generally accepted as the best Candela on the market, is the Fuente 858 Candela. It's definitely a good Candela, but it's, I don't know, that Cigar Bundles of Miami, and plus, like I said, all their other stuff, it is crazy good. Now, Diggins got to smoke like that little bullet shape. It's one that looks like a round, and I'm assuming they're going to send you that one as well. I haven't smoked it yet, but everybody else is saying that's also another fantastic.
Yeah, it was. I smoked it on July 4th just because of the shape,
Yep.
And it burned well, and it tasted great. I was pleasantly surprised.
Hey, if a cigar tastes good, that's all I want. I mean, I don't. It doesn't have to be $50.
No,
and a lot of times,
the less expensive ones are the better ones.
Yeah.
Because
I can't taste dollars.
You can't. Lee Mack has joined us tonight. He's on the show, and then he did a great review today. It was on the Padron, and one question I'll ask you, because now when Jessica and I do reviews, for me, that price tag, that affects me. That affects what I think of the cigar. And Lee Mack did a great job on that review, trying to separate those two. When you're giving a review on a cigar, does that number bother you?
It does. It does. I'll cite you an example. A month and a half ago, I did the new Cohiba Royale.
Okay.
That's about it's $30, a 30 and change cigar. That was one that was sent to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought it. But I went into it with a lot of trepidation, because I also reviewed last year, and I'm surprised because I'm brutally honest. Take it or leave it. This is what I'm going to tell you the truth. I did the Spectre last year.
Same here, yeah.
And I did not care for that at all. It just had no flavor for me at all. And I gave it a poor rating.
Yeah.
So I went into this Royale thinking, oh boy, here we go. Maybe, cross your fingers. Well, I had one and I went, damn. So I had a second one before I did the review, because I always like to have a couple, 2 or 3 before I do the review to see what I'm up against. And that cigar was surprisingly good. So it's nothing like the Spectre. If anybody's thinking about trying the Royale, if you got $30 to burn.
That Spectre was $100.
Yes, it was.
And that was the only reason I didn't get the Spectre. Like I said, I smoked that $100, or the Royale. You smoke $100 cigar, and it was okay. It was just okay. And for me, that $100 price tag, that was the same way when I smoked the Steve Saka's Unicorn, and I paid for that one $100, and I smoked that cigar like on a Tuesday night, and it was good, and it was not a bad cigar at all. But you just keep thinking of that number, $100. What should this cigar taste like? No matter what it is, for $100.
I'm not sure any cigar could live up to that hype. I really not. And I'm being very honest. The Royale is very good. It is actually one of the top rated cigars this year. I've already reviewed over 60 cigars this year. Yeah. And it's the top 15 or so. The price tag. And I tell people, this a celebratory cigar or something like that, but nobody's going to buy that in a box.
Exactly. Now the only way I was able to semi-justify the Unicorn was because Steve Saka himself placed his hands on those leaves and chose that tobacco. He chose this leaf that went on my Unicorn versus this leaf. He chose, when they were final, he holds them up, looks at them, does his things. He says, this is good. That's the only way I could, justify that. AJ Fernandez isn't putting his hands on the cigars. Jonathan Drew isn't picking up the cigar. These guys aren't picking up the cigar and going, okay, yes, you may use this leaf, and then grab another one. You may use this leaf. That's not happening. So, but still, for $100, that is just.
Fire away. But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is there any manufacturer currently that has really stood out this year?
It is the one that every single person on this show every manufacturer on this show, they all agree on one person that is producing the best of the best this year, and that's Nick Melillo at Foundation.
Really?
Nick is producing the best cigars money can buy, hands down. The Tabernacle, the Red Label one. There's two of them, but I believe the Red Label is the Havana Seed, Connecticut. Hands down. I mean, it's just I smoked that cigar just because he sent me some of the, or not him, Rob at Fox Cigars sent me some, and I'm like, hey, you got to try these. Blew my mind on this cigar. It was just, and then like I said, every manufacturer we have on, we ask them that, hey, what are you smoking? Everybody goes Foundation. Like Nick Melillo has it going on, and it's
okay.
Yeah.
How about you? Is there anybody that stands out in your mind?
Out of the 65 that I've done, or whatever it is, I don't know, some round number like that. So far, I don't know how you feel about this, but I am just so impressed with what I've had this year that they put out as James Brown.
Yeah.
Black Label and Black Work Studio. I mean,
I had the
they are good.
What was it? The Hornet, I believe, last week.
No, it's the it's one of the B series. It's with the Cameroon wrapper. I've got some. I haven't tried them yet. I'm letting them sit. I just got them. But the Nocturne and Bishop's Blend. I mean, the Bishop's Blend Lancero and the Robusto, I have them tied with the same score. Last year, the Corona Largo was in my top 5. I didn't even have it this year because I wanted to try the Lancero, which is new. And I decided to try the Robusto, and I went, my God. Usually when you change Vitolas, you know.
Well, that's what do you smoke a lot of Lancero?
I do, actually. Lanceros do very well across the board with me. It's not a size I like. You know, I don't like smoking something half the size of a pencil.
Yeah.
But those things usually, when you strip down everything to just the essentials, I hate to use that word now. That word's going in the word. Yeah. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just the stuff that really means something.
Yeah.
Man, it gets phenomenal.
I tell you, that says a lot about your reviewing character. Because I don't like Lanceros, and that does affect my review of the Lancero. So you say you really don't care to smoke them, but yet you like them and you give them high ratings. So that says a lot on that cigar, and then that tells me that that's a review that you can trust is someone
honesty of your palate.
I
don't over the last few years, Protocol has had a lot of good Lanceros.
Yep.
And it's like, this is stupid good. I mean, it's like, compared to their normal 50 ring and you get down to a 32 or whatever, it's like, my God, the difference was just well worth noting. And 1 year, a Lancero made my top cigar of the year, and it was by Protocol.
Really? Wow. Was that the Themis? Or
No, it was the what was that official? What? No. You asked me. I'm on the spot. Had the reddish label.
Okay. Yeah. I can't remember which one. It wasn't the official misconduct. It was the if anybody knows.
Somebody remind us. I've got some in the humidor behind me, and I got some over there. But
now, have you had the Steve Sakas, the Now Leave Me the Hell Alone Lancero? From Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust.
I haven't heard of that one.
You didn't know Steve Sakas? That was last year's Muestra de Saka line. I believe it was last year. It was the Now Leave Me the LMTL THA. Whatever. Now leave me the hell alone.
Okay. The letters now are sounding familiar.
They
Yeah.
just did an STFU sampler also.
Yeah.
Recently, but
And I'll tell you, I said that's really the only Lancero I've ever truly loved. But like I said, I'm jaded on that cigar because everybody knows I'm friends with Steve Saka. We chat like once a week, and he told me the story about how he makes that Lancero and how everybody else makes theirs wrong, and like the techniques that he used, which he'd kill me if I ever said that. Someone said probable cause. That's what it.
Yeah, that sounds right. Right.
So I went into that knowing everything about this cigar. I'm like, oh, that's why I don't like Lanceros from those other companies, because they do it this way. Steve did it a different way. This must be good. So that completely jaded my entire opinion of that cigar. But
this is about as close to a Lancero as I get, because I've finished the T Habano. This is the Lirio Rojo from Warped, and this is a little bigger ring than a Lancero, but these things are so good. This year's version over last year's version is almost night and day. I mean, I don't know what they did last year differently than this year, but this year's is so much better. But I've got a stack of these in the humidor, so I grabbed one of these.
Now going through your all your reviews and everything else, if you go through the Cigar Prop YouTube channel and some of the YouTube channels that have like the playlist, you'll know that I am a fanboy of Drew Estate. I am a fanboy of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. But going through, you're all over the place. You have reviewed so many different cigars. I can't wrap my head if you have a favorite manufacturer, like a single manufacturer that, like, on your downtime, like if you're not doing a review, like who are you going to? Is there, or are you always smoking something just different all the time?
I try to do different all the time, but as anybody that's going to be human and tell you the truth, I gravitate a lot toward AJ Fernandez.
Okay.
There's a lot of, it doesn't have to be his, but he might have made it. Mm-hmm. And his flavors are that I like, every day, the H. Upman by AJ Fernandez, very good everyday cigar. I have it a lot. And that's just one example. I mean, the tea right here was made by him and Matt Booth and Caldwell. So he has a hand on a lot of things that I have every day.
Yeah,
and that would probably be James Brown.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of his, and that's not even in the same genre, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, completely different cigars.
Yeah. James is very dark, but I've gotten to where I like that. As a change, and they're in the rotation almost daily, AJ and James Brown.
Now, what about I know you did your mid-year report card, and I believe you were smoking the Viva La Vida. What are you thinking about that cigar?
Great. It's great.
That's what Jessica's actually in the garage right now, and that's what she's smoking. That's one of her favorite cigars.
That was, I think, my number 2 cigar of last year, the Torpedo.
Oh, okay.
And it's great.
Now you say Torpedo. What size are you digging on? Like a cigar? What's your favorite size?
Go-to size 6x54.
Okay. Okay.
I like the 6x54, and I think I got into that because for a long time I smoked a lot of Perdomo, the Champagne, the sun-grown Champagne, and the Maduros. And I think Nick, I've been down to this factory. I've been down to Estelina, did the Perdomo tour, and watching Nick, and Nick was there, and it just, I have a feeling the 6x54 is his favorite size, but that's just really, it's comfortable. I like it. It's a good time frame. I try to smoke cigars slowly as I can.
Yeah.
You go too fast, they get hot. You don't get any flavor. But I can get real close to 2 hours out of a Toro 6x54 if it's pretty.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I try to get 90 minutes to 2 hours. These guys that say they can smoke a Toro in 45 minutes, I go, how the hell are you doing that? What are you doing to get that cigar down that fast?
It must be pretty damn dry.
Yeah. I don't know. Now,
Yeah.
now I got a question on Perdomo, because that's a cigar I want to get into in 2020. Back in the day, I smoked a lot. I know. I smoked a lot of Rocky Patel stuff, a lot of Perdomo stuff, and then I fell out of love with those cigars. I didn't smoke a Rocky Patel for like 2 years. I found a vintage 92 that was probably 10 years old in my humidor, moving stuff around. I'm like, oh, this is a cigar I fell in love with Rocky with. And I smoked it, blew me away. It was just great. Now I'm on a Rocky kick. I'm smoking everything that he has. I've got his. I just did the review on the new Quarter Century the other day. Oh my God, is that cigar amazing? So I want to get back into Perdomo, but it's been 2 years since I've smoked a Perdomo. What would you recommend? And it's hard to say that, to me as a cigar reviewer as well. What do you recommend? What are you digging on Perdomo that I should try?
Well, the 20th anniversary Sun-Grown is fantastic. The 20th anniversary Maduro is fantastic. Perdomo makes a very, very tasty Maduro. So would
you agree that Champagne Black or Champagne Noir?
So the Champagne is, they classify it as a Connecticut, and it's fairly light. Now, you can feel a little a hero by the time you get to the end, but for a first cigar in the morning, a Champagne is amazing because it has a lot of sweet citrus notes, and I'm gonna say it, orange citrus, a lot of brown sugar, and ample pepper. There's a little black coffee base, but it's very sweet if you go slow. So the Champagne is a nice cigar for either the first one in the day or the last one at night. The middle of the day, it depends on you and your schedule.
Yeah.
But somebody like me that has 5 or 6 or whatever a day, then it's got to be in the mix kind of early. A lot of times when I'm on vacation, that's the first cigar I have in the morning. And by in the morning, I mean probably 9 o'clock. You're out on the beach. That's the first one you have. It's very good, but I would really say that and they're going through a little transition right now. I don't know if they're changing the blends, but they're changing the packaging.
Okay.
So they're going to have a different look.
Now I have both those cigars, the 20th anniversary and the Champagne Noir. I said I got rid of all my Perdomos, and then Nick or one of his reps or someone keeps sending me more of them. So I have a good selection to try, and I just haven't gotten back into them. Right. Someone had mentioned the Lot 23. The Lot 23 is what got me off of Nick. I had bought a box of them because that was a cigar that I used to like. I got 2 cigars in, and I was a quarter of the way through the second cigar. I threw it away. I gave the entire box away, and I never smoked another one. It was just like, I'm done. I'm done with this. And my palate had changed. It probably wasn't anything with the cigar. It was I was just going through a transition, and I'd like to get back into, because I kind of want to see what he's doing, because he's done some new stuff, and I'm always, I don't try.
Club Humidor in San Antonio has an entire wall dedicated to Perdomo. He has so many blends and Vitolas out there. I mean, you could literally spend 2 months on nothing but Perdomo.
Now, one thing they have is really good, and they used to have a Cameroon that was like a regulation size cigar, 6x54.
Yeah.
And they came back with limited leaf to this little, I don't know the name of it, but it's like a 5x50 or something, or 4.5 by 50 or something like that, Cameroon, that is just a sweet firecracker. I mean, if you like Cameroon where you get a lot of caramel notes, really sweet, that's another Perdomo to look at.
Yeah, probably one of my favorite Cameroons is the Nub. Nub makes a Cameroon in that little 4-inch. That is a great little cigar. I always keep a dozen of those in the humidor. I'm a pretty good fan of the Cameroon, especially on
a nub. Those things are amazing. that little 3.5, 4-inch cigar will last you an hour and a half. I mean, it's amazing how slowly they burn.
I originally bought that, and I'm like, hey, I need a good 30-minute cigar. And then you're an hour in, you're like, how do I have cigar left? This is impossible. You know?
Yeah, it's really weird. The same thing happened last weekend. Do you guys ever get into Viaje, the new Daisy cutter?
Yeah.
I got an hour and a half out of a Daisy cutter, and that's a 4 by, I think it was 54 cigar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. You know, yeah.
That's one of the best Viajes I've had. Viaje with me is really hit and miss. Really hit and miss.
That's what I was going to ask. You know, they've got all these, like chicken dinner or stuffed turkey. And these. Have you tried any of these? What do you think of?
You tried the new Farmer. What was the Farmer John or the
Farmer something? Yeah, I reviewed it about 3 weeks ago. Very disappointing.
Yeah,
I tell you, Viaje doesn't make a cigar that I have cared for yet. And I know my buddy Tony Costa's in the chat panel right now. He's a big Viaje fan. I try, and they're just, there's nothing bad about it. They're just not. And I always say that to people. People are like, hey, you didn't like that cigar. I go, oh, hey, that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it. That just means that I didn't care for that cigar. Now, there have been times where I've said that cigar was bitter. It was sour. I did not like it for that reason. But I try and tell people, like I said, this cigar is just not hitting my palate. It's just not what I'm into. And that's Viaje. And Viaje probably has, hands down, the worst Candela cigar ever made in the history of cigars, and it was a St. Patrick's Day release, and it was just a horrible cigar. But their Zombie Antidote was actually not too bad. It's probably
they are really just hit and miss with me. The
Ghost Pepper's not bad.
Yeah,
Ghost Pepper series has been pretty good, and the one that they did this year, which is the Fat Ghost Pepper, is very good. Johnny something that was out earlier this year got a real high rating for me. Is it Johnny Rocket? Johnny something.
I think it might be Johnny Rocket. Yeah.
Yeah, that one of those 3 comic book series, that one was just excellent. And of course, you can't find it anymore. This Daisy Cutter is real good. I actually like the Hulk and the Bruce Banner that came out. Viaje will release cigars in a heartbeat. I mean, for any reason. And I try, because I told you I buy my cigars. Yeah. And Viaje's never sent me anything, I don't expect them ever to. So when Viaje comes out with a new release, I'm thinking this might be the one. It's like the lottery. This might be the one. And so I'll buy them. I've got 2 or 3 left in the humidor. Point over here because my review cigars are in my end table humidor to do. And it's coming up. The birthday series or whatever, the summer fest or whatever's coming up and all that. And I just cross my fingers that it's going to be good because they're either pretty good, really pretty good, or nothing I would ever buy again. So
I have a couple of those Ghost Peppers. I know we sent one to Diggins, and Jessica and I have a couple that we've probably had for, I think my buddy Tony Costa sent them to me. We probably had those for a year sitting in my humidor.
Smoke it before the spiciness kind of mellows out a little bit.
Yeah, that'll be what'll happen. Is it won't be as spicy, but yeah. So I'm.
One thing.
How do you feel about Roma Crab?
Yeah. I like the Roma Crab. I haven't reviewed anything in a long time because they haven't really come out with a lot of new stuff that I'm aware of. And I mean, I see a lot of this stuff, but I mean, some things can slip through the channels. I have a non-formal agreement with William Cooper, Cigar Coop.
Yeah.
And he allows me to use his written description as part of my blog entry. I don't look at his review. I don't look at anybody's review, but I've got to get, you got to get a description from somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you're reviewing XYZ cigar. Okay, here I've got it. What is it? And then a lot of times he'll have the description and I can copy and paste it over and give him credit for it. So I can get a lot of that that way. I forgot where I was going with this, but
I have the same thing with Coop. He lets me use like I said, in the show, the notes and everything else. So he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Now, one thing you said earlier that made me think, yep, I can identify with that. When you said you went back to Rocky Patel and thought it was phenomenal, and like we all our palates change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's cigars that I had 10 years ago that I haven't had since that I could easily go back and try, and just like that, go back and say, wow, where's this been? Because, I mean, with all the different flavors that are coming out, and I get a lot of flavors, it'd be easy. I mean, it's unlimited what you can do with cigar blending. I mean, you can make it taste like literally anything. So it's easy to get jaded on one genre or one flavor, and then you get something totally different. And it's like, this is great. Well, it's been there all along, but you didn't know it.
Yeah, it's exactly. There's so many cigars, and the only cigar, I don't know if you've ever done it, but I've only done it, and I'm about to do it again, was which people hound me to this day that I don't like Opus X. I smoked one, reviewed it a while ago, didn't like it. A couple years went by, whatever, year and a half, smoked another one, I still didn't like it. I've got now the creme de la creme, the Lost City, the size that everybody wants. To, you're like, this is it. This is the one you need to look for. This is the cigar. This is the euphoric cigar. So I'm going to smoke that one and see if there is an Opus X out there that I care for.
I wasn't impressed with the Lost City.
Yeah,
I like them. I don't buy a lot of them because they're only out certain times of the year, and usually don't stick around long. But a lot of people ask me sometimes, do I think there's a lot of hype in X or Y or Z cigar? And I go, of course there is. I mean, there's hype in every single cigar. They're trying to sell it, but by only releasing it twice a year, there's even more hype, and it's like, oh, it must be good. So I try to block that out. Just give it to me, and I'll tell you if I like it or not.
Yeah, it's really hard to block that out, though. I mean, because you see it, you're on the forums, you're online, you're seeing everybody's like, man, this cigar is the best of the best, and and then it comes out, and you smoke it, and you're like, I don't know. It's like like you're kind of disappointed because you build up this cigar in your mind.
Exactly.
It could be a good cigar, but now you set this on a pedestal, and now it's not good. I remember, I think I opened up when I did the a review on the Gurkha Ghost. One of the, and I started the review, and I'm like, all right, this cigar is gonna suck. I'm gonna hate it, but I'm gonna try my best to muscle through this review. And then that cigar was fantastic, and I'm like, all right, so I went into that thinking it's gonna be bad, and some people don't like that cigar, and I'm like, I don't know. I love that cigar, so on that end, it was the opposite effect.
It's the only Gurkha I've ever enjoyed, and I wouldn't say I loved it. I would say, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I think I'm with Diggins on that one. It was good, but I've never bought another one.
Yeah, I've never bought another one. Yeah, same here. I've been gifted a few since people know that I care for that cigar. Now, what about your thoughts on infused cigars? Do you ever go the infused? I don't, because I didn't see any of the reviews on.
You will not. I draw the line at infused. I'm not into that.
Does your wife smoke cigars with you?
Let's say yes, unofficially, but she likes the cigarillos. Like the Hoya de Monterey cigarillos, the little 4x24s or whatever.
Yeah, those are good.
One time years ago, I went to a cigar event before they had a lot of them here in Columbia. This was way back up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they had a Drew Estate event, and they were giving away blondies, and she tried one, and I thought she had exploded a perfume bottle in her hand. She brought one home in a Ziploc bag. When we opened it, I was convinced she had broken a perfume bottle in that bag, and I have never looked back. I said, no. If you like them, and you know what? every Drew Estate guy will tell you what's their number one seller.
Cuba
Infused.
Cuba. Yeah.
Infused.
Yeah.
And that being said, Drew Estate is one of my sponsors, but they know. I mean, I've told them I'm not an infused guy. You know,
and they understand that. That's why they make more than one cigar.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, it's
but follow the money. If I'm making it and you buying it like crazy, you think I'm going to stop? It's not stupid.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's not for me.
Exactly. Now, I did see, like I said, Drew Estate was one of your sponsors. I saw their logo on your blog. How long have you been doing a blog? Have you been doing that ever since the cigar reviews, or is that something that started?
Yeah, pretty much. It probably preceded the YouTube by just a little bit. I can't even find the beginning of my blog. If you put a gun to my head and said, you got to find it, we're going to be here all night. Because I'm going to go page after page after. I don't even know how far back that goes. And I just started doing that back whenever blogs just started. Yeah. Because I thought it was a nice way to make notes on cigars that I had. So I made some notes, not in the form of a formal review or whatever, but just notes and generalizations.
Like a little diary of sorts.
And and then lo and behold, because people can contact you, because I guess it's somehow, you're your email to contact him here, something. They would contact me and tell me they like this review. I'm thinking, okay. So I'll do another one and I'll put a little more into it. And again, snowball downhill. There we are. But I'm not a fluff guy. I mean, it's like, I'm more meat potatoes. I know what I like. I know what I'm gonna tell you, and I'm not going to embellish it. I've seen some reviews that what I could say in 15 words, they make 3 paragraphs out of. I'm like, my God.
Get to the point, damn it. Exactly.
I don't know where they get some of these flavors from. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I'm reading these things. So my flavor description is I try to make it something that you can relate to if you have a palate. I mean, some people like the guy that says, I know what I like, and if it tastes good, I know it. I can't help you. I mean, I know what I like and what tastes good too, but I can tell you what it tastes like.
Charlie Manata from Half Wheel is the guy that always has all these weird, wacky flavors. And I was reading an article, one of his guys, because he'll write his review, and then it goes in front of his team, and then they fine tune it, I guess. And then he had referenced a flavor to I want to say it was like some ultra rare truffle that's only grown in Spain in like one region, and they're like, come on, Charlie, you got to give guys something. They don't know what that tastes.
Something they can relate to.
That's what you got to give them something, and he wanted to leave it. It's like I'm like I don't know what that tastes like. It's like he's famous for birthday cake. He's famous and that's Charlie. They say he's got a good palate. I don't know. Does it take away? I don't know. I find it funny. We all read it for what he writes.
In general, what do you think on the flavor wheel that everyone uses? What do you think per cigar? What are you getting? About 3 to 5 flavors per cigar?
Yeah, there you go.
I got one right here. If I can't think of something, I'm like, what is that? I'm hoping I see a word and it reminds me. Yep, that's it. Yeah. Well, that doesn't really help me that much.
But for the most part, you're getting what, 2 to 3 transitions?
For the most part, what?
Out of each cigar, how many flavors do you generally pick up?
If it's a nice one, 6 maybe.
Okay.
Wow. 6, 7. I mean, usually it's always
definitely a better palate than I've got.
Well, I mean, I try to go the first thing that hits your tongue. What is that? The first thing that hits your tongue. And a lot of times in a good Nicaraguan, something that AJ's made, is something sweet, like a sweet cedar or a citrus. That's the first thing. And then you usually have brown sugar. Usually cinnamon is attached in there. Not always, but usually.
Yeah.
Then you kind of get into a nutmegish type thick flavor, maybe leather, then maybe black coffee. It sort of works its way down.
Yeah, see, I've never, people always make fun of me. I've never gotten cinnamon out of a cigar ever.
Really?
But I get, which, and there are cigars that people blow me, that blow me. I get, chocolate's my first one. I am a chocoholic. So I get, and I can tell you that different, Diggins had posted a picture today or yesterday of a good Lindt chocolate with a spicy pepper. I know my chocolates. I know chocolates from around the world. So I associate a lot of chocolates, heavy bitter chocolates, sweet chocolate, cocoa, milk chocolate. So that's my thing.
Well, in your Maduros, I'm right there with you. It could be dark chocolate, it could be unsweetened dark chocolate, it could be sweet dark chocolate, it could be bitter, it could be cocoa, milk chocolate. Just straight out chocolate like a candy bar almost. And it varies. It
does. And I know the difference between a 62, a 70, a 72, a 75, I'm just good for chocolate, but you have your flavor wheel. Jessica is my flavor wheel. If I'm having a problem, I go get her and I'm like, I don't know what this is. And she'll smoke it for a few minutes and then she'll run out some things. I'm like, that's what it is. That's what, because I have a hard time, pinpointing what it is that that I'm tasting. So luckily I got a human flavor wheel that will usually
the reason I try to be very descriptive is I tell people I'm not going to tell you what to like. I'm not going to tell you if this I will, and I won't tell you if I like this cigar. You're going to know. I want to describe it in such a way that mentally, if I describe vanilla ice cream right now to you mixed with chocolate, in your mind, you can taste that. You can taste it right now. So I want to describe the flavors in the cigar so you can mentally mix them up and go, that's what he's getting. I think I like that. Or I don't think I like that.
Yeah.
And maybe before you spend $10, $12, $15 on a cigar or on a box, maybe you buy 1 or a 5-pack to try. If it's like, I might like that. We'll try 5. That's my goal. My score is what I think of it. That's all it is. It's not because I'm the grand guru who knows all about cigars. It's just what I think about it. What was my description before that number? The number shouldn't enter into your mind unless our palates align. And hey, out of 100 people, I'm going to align with 20 or 30 of them.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
So, the other ones go by what you hear.
Yeah, exactly. You did a great video that I am so jealous that you did it. And because I don't think anybody ever does it. You did a mid-year report card. And is that something you do every year?
No, it was new this year only because I had done so many. I didn't know I would be up to 60 by the end of June. And I thought, well, let's just throw it on the board and show you where we are at this point. And I feel real good about those that made the top 10 or 15. They're on shaky ground, which the rest of the year coming because there's a lot of new stuff that's coming out. A lot of stuff that I'm hoping is good, but track record says last year wasn't. You have those. I'll give you a good example. For me, Crowned Heads is another one that I like a lot of their stuff, and some of it I don't. Yeah. And I've been very disappointed in the La Calaveras series. Well, the new ones have come out. Purple label.
Yeah.
I got them sitting right over there resting. Haven't had one yet, but I'm like, it's like the Viaje. Crossing my fingers. This is the year. This is the year because the last couple of years they haven't been bad. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly.
It's not wow. I
want wow. You out the water. Yeah.
I want wow. I've had a wow, and I haven't reviewed it yet, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. But that is and it's by a big manufacturer, but it's not under his name. Although they are distributing the cigar, so it basically is his name, and I better shut up. But that cigar was just, I could not believe how good it was. And after having one, I immediately went online and bought a box.
I bet you.
And I bought the ones that I had. I I had a 5-pack and I tried one. We just come back from the beach about 3 weeks ago, and I had it, and I went, "Oh my God!" I said, "This is going to rival for the #1 cigar of the year." At this
So you
point.
like Herrera Esteli, huh?
Huh?
So you like Herrera Esteli, huh?
Herrera Esteli?
Oh, okay. You said it's his. I was
I
taking
like
your
those,
hint.
but that's not what
I
I'm
was
talking
taking
about.
your hint,
Oh, okay.
and I was thinking that's got to be Herrera Esteli.
No.
Yeah, and that's how I said, we keep, right here, we keep a big magnetic dry erase board, and we have all of our cigars in for the year in the running. And Jessica is, I'm looking at her list right now. She only has 3 cigars on her list that are even worthy of going on the for this year's, and I should probably kill me if I tell anybody, but on hers, it's the Diamond Crown Maximus, the Urudoshi, and then the which I forgot to put up there the other day was the Kintsugi. So she's got 2 Alec Bradleys, on her list, and she loves those cigars. Mine, if anybody wants to know, my mid-year report card, hands down, I don't know if anything is going to beat that Foundation Tabernacle. The Army of Angels, absolutely.
Now, which tabernacle?
The red label, the Havana, the Havana.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I did that last year or so. It did good, but it didn't win.
That was I was digging on that one. The Henry Clay Warhawk. Really.
You like that one? You like the Warhawk?
I really liked that cigar. A lot of people don't like it. The Room 101 Doomsayer by Matt Booth. Oh my God, that cigar got me going. The Amendola Maduro, another great cigars on my list. I have the Diamond Crown Maximus on my list too. That was a fantastic cigar, and there's a few other ones on there, but I'll stop there. But Jessica's really
my report card of my 3.
Yep.
Archetype Curses, the Hirochi Robina Blue, and FSG Bellicoso.
FSG is an underrated cigar, very, very underrated. I like those. The first time I had them, I don't know, it's probably 3 years ago. I reviewed it and it did well. They don't have anything new, and my niche is new stuff. So
exactly, yeah.
So, but yeah, FSG's good.
Yeah, really good. I just got a box in yesterday of the Bellicosos, and it was someone had sent me a and I think it was who sent me that? The other Jason Hawkins, and Jason Hawkins is about going to make me go broke. Every day he sends me a new list of hey, so and so's got something on special. Same with my buddy Tony Costa, and I think Cigar Page or whatnot had the FSG Bellicosos, and they were $125 off a box. And
Cigar Page is the new crack, just like Cigar Bid was 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's tough. When I get those emails, it's tough. Like the Tinskis. Okay?
Yeah.
The Tinskis. I have to look at it, and there's like 500 of them, so you're scrolling and scrolling.
I know. Tony Costa sent me today. Cigars International. If anybody was looking for, there's no way they have any left. But they had a box of the Camacho Diplomas, and they were, I think, $300 off. $300 discount on a box of Diplomas, and I couldn't, I just couldn't even at 100. I just can't buy any more cigars. It's I know it's so bad. I had mentioned this on my live with Omar a couple days ago. I have spent more money in 2020 on cigars than I did in all of 2019, and I mean by a couple $1,000s worth. I told Omar I spent $1,000 last week on cigars.
Wow.
But they're just, this whole COVID. I mean, these manufacturers, they're needing cash. They're needing cash flow, and these discounts and these deals are just mind-boggling on some of these deals, and you just can't.
Well, you got no argument here. I mean, it's very tough to. When you're looking at it, you know what it normally costs and what this price is. And I'm like, you serious? Okay. Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. And on that FSG, I happen to smoke the most expensive size, which is the Bellicoso. So when I saw $100 off a box, it's like, I gotta spring for that. Yeah. Tim, Cigar Show Tim, great show. If anybody's not following Cigar Show Tim, he had mentioned the Tatuaje TAA 2020, fantastic cigar. Have you smoked that one yet?
No, I've got a couple of Tatuajes in. What is it? Anarchy.
Yeah, that's the new one. Yeah,
and the one that's the letters like MMDS or something. I don't know.
The MBS.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I got in a bundle of those from Corona the other day, and I can't wait to smoke those.
Well, those are new. I think they're new, and they're sitting up here in this humidor, and I haven't got to it yet. I've got so many on the docket, the ones that, and I'm like you, I just keep buying them. If it's new, and it's a big name company, somebody I think I trust and I think will be good, I buy it. I buy 5-packs of all this stuff. So I haven't got to it yet, but I'm like, I've got so many in front of it. Let me get familiar with those and work my way through. And by the time I get to them, there'll be 10 more behind them.
Yeah. That's the problem. And I don't know how you are with reviews, but at one time I was putting up 4 to 5 reviews a week, and then I got to the point to where I could never tell you what day it was or even the month. Because I would review a couple of cigars, but then something new would come out, and I'd review that. And then by the time I would have a backlog of a dozen reviews edited, ready to go in my video. And then I'd post one up, in like July, and I'd be like, hey, happy Easter, everybody. And people were like, how old is this video? I'm like, shut up. It's been sitting around a while,
Well, I don't have time, unfortunately, to do that. I mean, my schedule, all right, for me, the reason I only do them on the weekend or on Tuesday, there is a formula there. There's a reason. I'm in the gym on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay.
And actually Sunday, we go to church. We're big Christians. We go to church, and now we're going online. So as soon as church is over, boom, I'm out the door. Because the reason I do it on Sunday is because when church was open, it would free up a day during the week, and I literally ride by the gym 2 miles to my church, and I ride by the gym to come home. And I got to thinking one day, if I worked out right after church, that would free up an evening. Okay, 4 days a week is what I work out.
Okay.
Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. The weekend is pretty much wide open. And if you go right after church, you still have Sunday afternoon, obviously, that I can do a review. So that's why I do it that way, and that's what frees up that Tuesday night. Otherwise, by the time I get home, I'm spent. I mean, that's it. I've got a cigar going. As a matter of fact, I light up a cigar in the parking lot of the gym every day to come home.
Yeah.
But beyond that, doing a review, it takes me by the time, because you got to smoke the cigar and you're making a video. So what is that going to take you? And it takes about over 4 hours to do a review. By the time, and after I do the video review, I then go back and play it back to myself and write up the blog review, which is really just almost a condensed version of word for word what you could watch. But some people would rather watch than read, so that's why I put a link in my blog to the video review. It's the same thing. You're going to hear it rather than see it. But I'd rather see it, not see me. But you can get a lot of inflection from somebody. Their facial expression. If they like the cigar or not.
Yep.
It's a poker read.
I've seen reviews just recently where you could tell the guy didn't enjoy what he was smoking, but he was singing his praises the whole time.
I hate to bring this up, but look at the one I did today. Yeah. And the counterpart to that cigar today, I did last weekend, and the difference in the scores is further than from here to mainland China. It's the same. There was a theme, and they had a Connecticut version and a natural version. And I'm not a Connecticut guy. Okay, you better impress me with a Connecticut.
You're damn right.
Very impressive Connecticut. The natural was like, I don't even understand who signed off on this. I don't get it. It's just not in the same planet. But that's just me. That's just me. But I had that same situation 5 hours ago.
Now, the one thing that which I don't know, and I love, and you asked like who signed off on it, and it reminded me I was watching the Herf the other night with Abe and from Smoke Inn and Steve Saka, and one thing that I never thought of, and was when Steve Saka is blending a cigar and he's at the factory, he's smoking samples. When he's whittling down those samples, he always sends them back to the States. He never chooses a blend down at the factory because he goes, every cigar will taste different when you get it here in the States and you let it acclimate, to your particular humidor. And that blew me away. I'm like, I wonder, he's the first person I've ever heard say that, where he will not choose a blend down in the States. But then you say, you wonder who signed off on it. And I'm thinking, I wonder how many of these bad cigars that I didn't care for, maybe people aren't doing that. They're not.
Maybe they were great on the rolling room floor.
Exactly.
I don't know. Some of them just mystify me. And like I said, somebody signed off on it. They thought this, they go through all these blends and they go, this is it. This is the one we want to go to market with.
Yeah. And then it's like, how? It was like, and it's a running joke because I haven't heard from Greg Dampier in forever, Damp Cigars. Jessica and I did that. And that's probably one of our funniest videos we ever did. He sent us some cigars to try and review. And now my reviewing style is I've never reviewed a cigar that I've ever smoked before. Now I've only broken that rule twice, in my whole career. So when I'm smoking a cigar and a review, that's it. That's the first time. Sometimes sometimes I'm just opening the package for the first time, and that is it. But I reached into this package and I pulled out this sticky cigar, and it's almost stuck to my hand. Like why is it sticking? I'm like, who put this cigar in this package and then sent it to me, thinking this is going to be a good idea to smoke this cigar. But we give our honest opinion because, in the cigar world, you guys are both part of the cigar world. There are people out there that say, oh, all cigars should be aged, a little bit before you smoke them. And then other people like, what the manufacturer said, the cigar is ready. If I'm sending it to you, it's ready to smoke. And I'm like,
bingo.
All right. I said, if you're going to send me, especially some of these companies, we'd like to have you review this cigar. And I'm like, all right, I'll review it. I'll give my honest opinion. I don't allow the company to see the video prior. They don't get any info. Right. They don't get anything on the cigar. If it sucks, it sucks. If it's good, it's good. So it's like, if you're going to send me a cigar, it better the hell be ready to be smoked.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm not going to sit there. I think people got in the mindset because they can't keep up with demand. Cuba sends out green cigars. They're not ready. And you have to let them sit for a year. Screw that. I'm not sitting on a cigar for a year. I'm not going to do it. If it does, it's accidental. Okay.
Yeah.
When I go down to Cancun, if I bring some back, because they're so expensive, I'm not going to smoke $150 worth of 5 cigars this afternoon.
Right.
So they may sit in the humidor for close to a year because I just go in there and pull one out here and there. But to tell me out of the gate, you got to buy, when you buy this cigar, you there?
Oh, yep.
Okay. If you tell me out of the gate, when you buy this cigar, you got to let it sit for 6 months before you have it, I'm not interested. They need to do that at the factory in Nicaragua, Honduras, wherever, before they send it to the States. It should be ready to go when it hits the shelf.
I agree, and then there are cigars that have gotten better. I'm friends with Steve Saka. I was down at his event. They were on the Red Meat Lovers Club cigar, that release. I smoked one that night, smoked one the next day, and I'm like, this cigar, it was just okay. There's nothing special. I put them in my humidor. I come across them because I lost them that's how big my humidor is. I do lose cigars occasionally. I lost that bundle for like 9 months. I'm like, I'm going to come back and smoke this cigar. Oh my God, was it amazing. I'm like, why, what, and I don't know why the cigar wasn't aged, or if it needed, maybe it was fine for him and it wasn't for me. But yeah, so to let a $400 or $500 box of cigars and it's like, hey, you can't smoke these and some of them are 5 years on some of them Cubans. Like, oh, you can't, you got to put a date on them and come back 5 years from now. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? I've got to come back 5 years from now.
But they're
not going to happen.
But the Cuban, Cuban snobs or whatever, the people that they think Cubans are the best cigar in the world, and I'm glad you do. Somebody's got to buy them. They'll do that. They have no trouble with that. No trouble, and I think they relish the fact that they've been sitting in their humidor for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, whatever.
It's part of it for them. Yeah, it's part of the.
That's fine, but that's not for me.
Exactly. And now next Monday night we have on, it's our last show of the before we take summer break. We have my good buddy Dr. Emil Demeth. He'll be on, and he is a Cuban cigar expert. He probably has $1 million worth of cigars in his various humidors. And so we've been compiling a list of questions, and that's one thing I want to know about some Cuban cigars, is just everything there is to know. So so we've got a show next week, and it's just all the Cuban cigar questions. So anybody watching this, the show tonight, if you go on the Cigar Prop YouTube channel, you'll see I think I posted it about 2 weeks ago, and it's Cuban cigar questions. If you have any questions that you want me to ask Dr. Emil, definitely leave those down below in the comments of that video, because I have questions, like on these Cuban cigars. It's like, why, in every question, why, because then some people, you find that one box of the pristine Cubans, and they say it's euphoric. It'll be the best thing you ever smoke. But how many do you have to go through?
How many frogs do you got to kiss?
And I remember Dr. Emil, talking to me, and I've said this before. He said, he goes, I'm envious of people that smoke. He goes, like you like the La Liga Privada T52, and he goes, that cigar is consistent. Whether you like it or not, whether you hate the Liga Privada T52 or you love it, it's the same every single time, every single box. And he goes, that's just not the way it is with Cuban cigars. You have to know so much information. It's absolutely crazy. It's insane.
Yep.
I don't know. So that'll be a great show. So one last question before we let you go. We definitely appreciate you taking some time out of your family life. And this is one question that I had consistently. People PM'd me, and I guess they've been afraid to ask you this question over the years. Maybe they have, but these people have not. Do you dye your mustache?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that was it.
I did a video about 4 months ago. I do a series of videos. I've done 3, I think, getting to know Tim.
Oh, okay.
And I said, write in your questions. Just ask me anything. I don't care. And there were some off the wall questions, but one of them was that, and I said, yeah, why? What difference does it make? I mean, I'm like, I already told you, I don't want to look my age. I don't believe in that. I simplify it for you. Nothing about me is real. Yeah. I'm not naturally this big. Yeah. I'm not naturally this tan, and my hair isn't naturally this color. I'm not naturally bald. So what do you want to know? Nothing about me is real.
Yeah, I talk about
cigars.
Yeah, I dye my beard. I don't want to have the gray. It is what it is. We all want to try and be young.
I'm going kicking and screaming all the way.
Now,
and I'm 44 years old, and I like the gray I've got going on here.
It kind of works on you.
Maybe if it goes more like too gray, I might do a little something. But
you can do all kinds of things. You can make different colors in there and all kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Jessica likes the gray in my beard. I don't know. I'm a little more vain, so I don't do it. Now, you're like me. Like we had Barry Stein on last week from Two Guys. He has the same mustache you do. I know your mustache, his mustache, my beard. That's who we are. We can't change that. Have you ever been like, I wish I could just shave this thing off?
No, and the only reason I have it wasn't my idea. It was my wife's idea. She said, I think you'd look good with one of these, is what she said, when nothing was there. And she says, if I cut it off, I look like Dom DeLuise. So I'm not, I'm not cutting it off.
Yeah, same here. You know, I trimmed up my beard 5 inches once, and people are like, "What is going on with your beard?" I'm like, "All right." So now I know I can't touch my beard. You know?
There you go.
So right on. So Tim, we definitely want to appreciate appreciate you coming on, spending some of your time with us. I had a blast. It was.
I enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun.
It was super fun. If you ever have any big announcements, anything that you want to do, you know, you got something coming out, definitely reach out to us if you need some airtime or, you know, anything else. We're always here for you. And hopefully maybe at the end of the year when you're coming out with your, you know, your end of the year, maybe we can get back together and we can
compare notes. Maybe we compare notes. You see what you think. See if my top 10 is worth a darn.
Yeah, that's it. And then we'll compare mine as well. So cool. All right, man. We definitely appreciate you coming on, and you have a great evening, and thank you very much.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.